2, 3, 4.
Where arts and culture summits the airwaves, this is the Nine Rails Arts Podcast. I'm R. Brandon Long alongside Todd Oberndorfer, and we are the Banyan Collective, arts and adventure podcasting since 2010. This episode includes interviews recorded live at the Utah Symphony's Patriotic celebration at Snowbasin. Guests include Conductor Michael Krajewski, famed Broadway star and Pops vocalist Hugh Panaro, Snowbasin Communications and Events Specialist Megan Collins, and Andrew Watson, Outreach and Special Events Manager of Onstage Ogden.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking, but we gonna do what they say can be done. We got a long way to go, and it's short time to get there. Hey, I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
So I cannot believe it has been a year since we did the 4th of July Pops show last year.
Yeah. And they invited us back.
They invited us back in a big way again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew, for setting this up. You make us feel like celebrities, which is very nice.
And we had a couple celebrities in their own right in TanVan.
Extremely approachable, very, very nice, just like last year.
Yes, so Hugh Panaro stepped in first. Famed Broadway star. He's otherwise known as the Phantom. Plays the Phantom on Broadway. It was crazy.
For over 2,500 performances, I think.
Yes.
So we're going to learn a lot about him in this interview. If you want to learn more, it is easy to find more. This man has gotten a lot of coverage. He's a big star.
Huge star. And the Conductor was fun and witty as well. And really witty during the performance. I mean, he was cracking the crowd up, which was good times.
And I did hear after the fact that the attendance was up from last year.
Yeah, so that's great.
Like significantly up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite as cold.
No. Yeah.
It was just a beautiful night. Really nice night on the mountain.
It was beautiful. So put that on your calendar for next year. The Pops concert up at Snowbasin is very cool. We also got to chat with, because the Onstage Ogden is new name for the Ogden Symphony Ballet Association, and we chatted with Andrew Watson about what that change means and why they went that direction. And Andrew is the Outreach and Special Events Manager of Onstage Ogden, who invited us up there, and we were thankful for that as well.
And we talked about upcoming events for Onstage, and then also what's going on this summer at Snowbasin.
There's art on the mountain up at Snowbasin. So thanks Megan Collins, Snowbasin Communication and Events Specialist, for chatting with us there. Should mention the Proper Way. There's we have a really fun interview with them coming, or they interviewed us. I'm not really sure what happened that
It
evening.
was a hangout session.
Yeah, hangout session. That'll be on a future Nine Rails Arts podcast episode. But Carrie has a new album. Scott has a new album. So the Proper Way has a new album.
Yes, exactly. The whole group, right?
The whole group has new stuff coming out. So they are the house band for this particular podcast and the Banyan Collective in general, and really excited that they have new stuff coming out. So thanks so much to the Proper Way for everything they do for us, and then for Ogden as well.
Yeah, you're going to like that episode.
That's
going to be out in a couple, I think, yeah.
All right, so let's get underway. Here's our interviews with all the people up there up at Snowbasin.
Live from TanVan.
I'm so happy. I just saw a moose on the way.
Did you really? Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, gorgeous brown velvet. Was just the most beautiful dude on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah,
that's
it was
inspiring
unreal.
coming up here. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Connecticut part-time, so I see, certain things like bobcat and bear and snakes, but I've never seen a moose. He was gorgeous. Just velvet.
I'll take
that's
that
so
as
cool.
a sign. It's going to be a good night.
I hope so.
Good night.
Yeah.
All right, so in the van, we are up here at the Utah Symphony Patriotic Pops at Snowbasin. Hugh Panaro or Panaro?
If you're Italian, Panaro.
Panaro.
Or if
yeah.
you're like my crazy family in King of Prussia, they say Panaro.
So we're between the two. I'm going to say Panaro. If that's all right.
Panaro. Vocalist for this evening here at the Patriotic Pop. So famous for the Phantom on the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, along with Les Mis and Sweeney Todd. As
Amongst
recently,
other things, I'm
Amongst
sure.
other
Amongst
things,
other
yes,
things, that's other
infamous,
things.
I'd say.
And I did watch a couple of YouTube videos, and so I saw some some.
I was young. I needed the money.
It was
You look
YouTube.
good,
YouTube
though.
has standards.
Yeah,
and they're all
you look
fine.
good,
Yeah.
and I know.
But I dug a little deeper. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you did?
No, we're
yeah.
good.
Okay. There's a movie trending right now.
Okay.
Elton John's movie is trending.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, do we return Lestat? Can we go there? Can we?
Do you know that cast recording is still in a vault, and there's like a whole website movement, releaselestat.com or something
Really?
like that. I think something like that.
Yeah.
And the fans are still like begging Elton to release the cast recording, but from what I understand, it's not all. I think there's multiple parties in, maybe like Warner Brothers. So I don't know.
But we'll dig a little deeper.
I might have one cut that somebody might have gotten me, and I can't say any names, or they'll go to jail. But I might have a cut from it on my computer.
Don't let it out. Don't let it out. Yeah, whatever you do. So here tonight performing patriotic classics. Spending so much time on the stage, in theater, you really let people get to know you. Let your heart. Let them feel your heart. Can we say that?
I think that's a great thing, because honestly, I feel like that's part of a performer's job, is to go out there with as little armor or walls up, because it's an energy exchange. That's why I love live performances. We had a gig last night, and there's a little guy who's probably like 3 years old, redheaded little kid, running around having a blast, and like how could you ignore that kind of energy coming at you? So I was like singing to him and waving, and he like waved back. So it's like, that's why these kind of venues are really cool. It's live, nothing like live performing.
Yeah. And so how does that translate to like patriotic songs this evening? In other words, it's a little different from having a script,
Yeah. One of the things, I don't know if Michael, our conductor, Michael Krajewski, told you, I'm also narrating this crazy piece called Liberty. Liberty for All, I believe. I probably said the wrong name? No, Liberty for All. And it's these magnificent tunes interspersed with famous speeches by like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln,
That's cool. Yeah.
Patrick Henry. And so that's kind of I ease into the show before I actually have to sing. So I feel like people get at least to, Speaking of our fearless leader.
Yes, Michael Krajewski, conductor for this evening, music director of the Philly Pops, still,
Right.
Is correct?
Yes.
And principal Pops conductor of the Jacksonville Symphony
Right.
Orchestra. You live in Florida now, Orlando, Florida, and enjoy travel, photography.
That's
read on
correct.
your bio, and crossword puzzles.
All of that, right.
What's the last word you were stumped on?
So far, I've been doing pretty good this week. I do the New York Times crossword puzzle. So
Yeah.
this week, so far, so good.
Okay, it keeps you sharp and up here.
I'm trying.
When's your time? When do you set aside time? You do it in the morning? You do it before you go in bed?
I usually do it in the morning. Sometimes, like when at the end of the week, the puzzles get really difficult. So sometimes when I go to bed, I'll start in on one, get a jump on the next day.
Is it all you? Do you have any lifelines? Anybody helping you out with these?
No, I don't use any. I don't cheat at all. I don't use any.
Really?
No dictionaries, no help.
Cell phone?
It's all on
Google?
me. Nope.
No.
Much as I'm tempted sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
But I think having those things to look forward to is nice, especially when you're spending as much time as you probably are, both of you, on the road,
I actually started doing them to kill time on an airplane. That was my goal, and it worked. And I kind of gradually got into doing crossword puzzles, and then I got much to my surprise again, I got really hooked. And I found out that I could start one on a plane, a nice difficult one. It might take me an hour or two to do, and the time just flies. I get so focused on this thing and so concentrating on it, and then I look up and we're almost landing.
You're landing. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
I got to steal that trick.
I know.
What do you do to keep yourself occupied on a plane? You listen to music? You sleep?
I
sleep.
listen to music mostly, yeah, or binge watch movies.
Right.
Maestro and we were in Prague not that long ago, right?
A few years
A few
ago,
years
yeah.
ago, and that's a long flight.
Yes.
And most of my colleagues can usually sleep for whatever reason. I never can sleep, so I end up watching, like 4 or 5 movies that,
Straight binge situation.
binge, like crazy stuff that you normally wouldn't watch.
Yeah, that's how I approach movies. When I see movies coming out or being released, I'm thinking, okay, the next long trip. That's on my list for the airplane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you spend time watching Netflix at home or anything, or is it you just save it for the airplane?
No, I watch some Netflix stuff at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not too much, but
So well-traveled, you just mentioned, from Dublin, Belfast, these are places where you have conducted as well as Hong Kong Philharmonic, the Malaysian Philharmonic, Iceland Symphony, and now Snowbasin. Is this the first time Snowbasin?
no, it's not. I've been here before. Yeah.
Okay. So
Not to
well-traveled.
ski, to conduct, actually.
Can you do that at the same time?
I haven't tried, but no, I'll have to say no because I can't ski.
When was the last time you were out?
It's been, it seems like it's been about 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Welcome back. Do you like performing situations like this on a mountain? I mean, you play into the view, it's nice, but these one-offs, is that a good way to put it?
Well, in general, playing outside, playing music, making music outside with an orchestra can be tricky. It looks like we've got a really good night tonight.
The temperature.
Temperature's right. There's not too much wind, but there can be so many things that really get in the way of
Anything
of the
stand out?
music.
Anything stand out? You bring this up, and I immediately want to know just
Last night,
Well,
right?
last night we gave a concert. And it was outside. It was where were we?
Red
Red Butte.
Red Butte.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot.
Red Butte.
Yeah, beautiful spot. And it was a great evening, but it was windy, very windy. And I conducted with one hand the entire evening because the other hand
'Cause you're
was
holding
holding down the
papers? Oh,
music.
no.
Yeah, if I released my hand for 2 seconds, that my music was going to fly. The wind was really coming in. So it was an interesting exercise in conducting to show you that you don't really need to be using both hands and doing all kinds of
I don't know
wild
if that's
gestures.
good or bad.
'cause
Yeah,
I just used my stick in one hand, and the other hand was holding that music securely all night long.
The musicians were amazing too because they were playing, turning pages, and then adjusting these huge music clips at this. It was like you
Yeah.
needed to be an octopus to get through the
Plus
show.
the temperature can adjust the strings, right, and the sound. a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's either dry or the temperature fluctuates during the course of the program, or the humidity, all those things, especially with the string instruments. They have a taut string, 4 taut strings, and even the brass. I mean, they're made out of metal, so things are changing for them. So trying to stay in tune it can be difficult for them. And last night I saw people lunging for their music at various times as we're trying to play music to keep it
man.
on the stand. So,
Yeah.
so it's a wonderful thing for the audience, to have a setting like this. It's a beautiful way to just sit back and listen to music, but making the music is a little bit tricky for us on stage.
Well, it
and the
feels-
singers too. Depending on what's going on, if it's dry, especially if it's dry, that can really pollen can really start to bother them.
Eating bugs.
Bugs, they have bugs in the going down.
I
the
was
throat.
hiking the other day and just swallowed the biggest moth imaginable. Yeah, and then you just spend the next hour just
Yeah.
being
Hugh,
on
do
stage.
you
That's
have
not a good
anything
thing.
before you go on to loosen the voice or anything, or do you have any
You
routines?
probably know this trick. This is the singer's secret. I'm going to let you in on
Okay.
it. Good old-fashioned potato chips.
What?
Yep, I'll tell you why. Because the salt
Uh-huh.
creates saliva, so it gives you some moisture, and the oil kind of coats your throat. So
So how soon before?
it
Like right
keeps you-
before?
Yeah,
This is a
Yeah.
podcasting hack, too.
Yeah.
We got to do that.
Yeah,
I had no
it's
idea.
a really good thing, Just you have to be careful though if you have, high def screens and you're like huge and you have like potato chips in your teeth. That's not cute.
So you pass by somebody and just like, okay.
Yeah, you check the
exactly.
beer, check the teeth.
What's your chip of choice?
Well, there's two kinds of chips. For my chip of choice in life, for
your tip choice,
my
and then
my
your
chip
go-to,
my
yeah.
chip choice
Your
for life
Netflix
would be
choice,
either
yeah.
salt and vinegar, or barbecue, or jalapeno. However, for concerts or singing in general, you want your basic, standard potato chip,
Like
Yep.
a Lay's chip.
like
Yeah,
a Lay's,
exactly.
good old fashioned. Yep.
Michael,
Lays.
there is an orchestra symphony that you have not conducted yet that you still need to check off the list? Because the list is long.
I'm pretty satisfied with the list. I'm not, to be honest, I'm really not. I really don't have a bucket list anymore for orchestras. I mean, there's some. Obviously, I haven't conducted every orchestra in the world or even in the country, but I've conducted a lot of orchestras, and I feel like I'm very fortunate, very, very fortunate to have conducted as many orchestras as I've had, and been invited back to, quite often to.
Well, apparently you're
to
pretty
come back.
good, so yeah.
That's
they'll
always
invite
a
you
good
back,
sign to be
yeah.
invited back.
Either that or they're giving me a second chance. I don't know. I don't know. But no, I'm really just so happy that I'm able to conduct as many as I had, and I'm glad with that.
Yeah. Hugh, I think I read somewhere you used to play a little bit of organ.
That's
still a thing?
I was our church organist growing up. In
This is
Philadelphia,
the start of it.
in Philadelphia, I used to play 5 masses every Sunday, and let's just say you're not very cool when you're the church organist. If you're a drummer, you're cool,
Got it,
but
yeah.
I got a lot of bullying for
you
that.
serious?
No,
Oh.
you're just
I
not
was
very.
a church organist too.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Were you cool?
as
I
a
wasn't a
kid.
cool coach.
I thought I was cool. Now
Did
you're
you?
telling me that it's not cool.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
Maybe you
learning this for the
were.
first time.
You probably were. I was like the little chunky, nerdy church organist that got made fun of. So
Always the exception, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's Michael. Do you have to run? Are you good on time? It's 6:57.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, all right, good. You can hang out for a second here.
So Hugh, what are you working on?
Yeah.
right now I'm doing mostly symphony work.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring the room down or anything. My mom's not well right now, so I've been kind of dealing with some real life things.
Absolutely,
That kind of takes over, and it's actually been a blessing.
We wish her the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Yeah, when you are doing 8 shows a week, it's really hard to kind of deal with real life. I was doing Phantom when my dad passed away, and it was a big deal. I had 2 weeks off. That was rare. They gave me 2 weeks to bury my dad, and that was actually a lot of time off to ask for. So the fact that symphony work is far more adaptive to one's schedule. So when we're done here in Utah, I will be.
Is she back east?
She's
Connecticut, you
in
mentioned?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So home is Philadelphia.
Yes, sir. That's where I was born.
Nice.
Yeah.
But home is Brooklyn and Connecticut.
Oh God, it's so East Coast. You like spending time on the West?
Yeah, I do. I lived in California for about a year.
I hear all the cool kids are in Brooklyn now, though. Is that the
Oh,
case?
Brooklyn's where it's at. Absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Not being familiar with the area at all.
No,
but that's
Brooklyn
what
is
I hear,
great.
yeah.
I lived in New York City my whole adult life, and have only been in Brooklyn now for about 7 years, and I feel like I live in Seattle.
Okay.
It's really
yeah.
cool. I feel like, real cool coffee shops. Everybody's got their dogs out every morning, and yet you can still walk down the street without bumping into a gazillion people. Manhattan is just packed, and especially where I would work in the theater area, you'd have to leave an extra 15 minutes just to navigate through the tourists to get to the stage door. Yeah.
When are you back to Brooklyn next? You got that figured in anytime soon?
I don't, because right now, like I said, from Utah, I'm going to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah. So tonight's concert, Utah Symphony Patriotic Pops here at Snowbasin. Did you know all the songs? Did you have to learn any for the
I had to
evening?
learn one song that we do called The House I Live In, which was made most famous, I think, by Frank Sinatra. And also a gentleman named Paul Robeson, I believe, sang it back in the 40s. Michael and I were talking yesterday. It was interesting because there are actually many different sets of lyrics over the years. We are doing pretty much the Frank Sinatra version, but it's actually got a little tag on the ending that's more patriotic for this event. So, but everything else, I think I think most of us learned them in school. God Bless America, America the Beautiful. There's some George M. Cohen.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. You're a Grand Old Flag. Over there. What else, Michael?
Michael, did you have to brush up on anything for tonight?
A little bit, yeah. I knew most of it. I've done patriotic programs
A couple times?
a couple times, more than a couple of times.
Yeah.
He gave me my start. My very first patriotic program was with Michael in Houston in 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
The rest
How
is
did you
history.
how'd you find Hugh, and why'd you pick him?
I didn't find him and I didn't pick him.
He was. I was thrust.
He was
I was
given
thrust
to me.
upon him, I guess.
It was your soloist is going to be Hugh Panaro.
Yeah.
I said, who? Hugh who?
Hugh.
Hugh. Okay.
But we had a great time there.
No, we had a blast.
And we've worked quite a few times together.
Oh my
ever
gosh,
since.
yeah.
It's always
Yeah,
a
you seem like you know each other well.
It's always a pleasure getting
I'm
together
back.
with
No,
you.
I have to say, it's when you get to work with people you like. I mean, it's so much
It's a
easier.
real bonus, yeah.
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 No,
And
it
I
is.
dare say we're pretty drama free.
Yeah, I think so.
We keep it pretty chill.
I see little glimpses of that right now. Yeah. So I have a quick question for you, Hugh, and this actually maybe applies to both of you. When you do the symphony shows, and these are songs that you might just do a few times during a summer, what kind of connection do you have to the songs? Do you need to have a connection to the songs?
I try
I would
to have a
think
connection
so.
with everything I sing. Again, when you go out there, to me, if you're really doing your job, you're not just singing, you're sharing a bit of your soul with the audience. So it's harder, I will say, when you haven't lived with a song. For instance, the house I live in is new to me. So that is something each time I do it, I get more familiar. A song like Bring 'Em Home that I'm doing from Les Miserables, I sang that 8 times a week, and it's like in my DNA at this point. So certain things are easier to connect with just because they're in your, like I said, it's almost in your nervous system. But if you learn a song, even if you learn a song a month before, and I try to go over the song a couple times a day so that it's really in my body and my voice, but there's nothing like inhabiting a song from a role perhaps that you've done.
Well, we were talking about this on the way up, where you mentioned, I don't know how many times you performed Phantom, but I'm like, man,
Do you have a number? Do you
have a number?
I don't. I call them the internet people. The internet
Yeah.
people
Yes.
inform me that it's been over 2,500.
2,500.
And that's just the show. And then concerts adding to that. So I've probably sung Music of the Night at least like 5,000 times.
And how many concerts, or how many over the years have you counted? Can you keep track?
How many concerts have I conducted?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So here comes the question then, and it is, you hear athletes who take a play off, who take a night off. When you're performing in front of a live audience, is there ever a time where you've hit cruise control, or do you have to stay on it at all times?
Oh, my God. Shame on you. Shame on you for
Yeah.
saying never. Oh, my
Never.
gosh. No,
Yeah.
never.
Because that's tough.
Never. Every
Right.
audience is brand new.
Yeah.
And maybe it's ego. I don't want anybody going home going, that guy stunk.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
are some times when I have to admit, maybe during the day or that morning or something, I think, I just don't feel so much like doing this tonight. It doesn't sound too interesting to me, but I got to tell you, when you step on a stage in front of several thousand people,
Changes everything.
Yeah.
you perk up pretty
Yeah.
quickly. and
Yeah.
you're
Especially you look at the audience, you see this 3-year-old.
That's
like
what
you
I'm
were
saying. Like
mentioning
last
before.
night, this little dude
Yeah.
running around having a blast, and like his parents trying to wrangle him. It's like, no, don't wrangle him. Let him be. Just have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Well, that's really good to hear, because I'm like, that is a staggering number of performances, and to nail it, to be in the moment, and to use that to let people see who you are, which you're a good
Well done.
person, great smile, and you play all these sort of darker characters.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was doing a Facebook Live interview this morning, trying to figure that out. It's like, I think I'm a pretty jovial human being, and yet I play murderers mostly. Sweeney Todd, Phantom, Martin Guerre was like, Sturm und Drang, like, so I'm not sure what, maybe it's
Is there a
just,
character that you've sort of looked at and it mirrors you a little bit more than others?
Gosh, I don't know.
Not
but-
the murderers.
Not the murderer. No,
I'm
I'm
not
a pretty
necessarily thinking
I'm a
murderers,
pretty
yeah.
peaceful dude. But I will say they asked me what, like a dream role, and one of them things that I haven't ever gotten to do on stage, I've done concert versions of, was Harold Hill in Music Man.
Yeah.
And I
that's
think
so
that
good.
would be a blast, just so that I could show my
You would
my
be
lighter
great in that.
side.
You would be great in that.
I
can
love
see you
that.
in
No, I love that.
Yeah.
But again, for whatever reason, my karma on the planet, I'm playing like scary murderer people.
Oh my gosh. Well,
And you're rolling with it well, sir.
yes.
I'm doing my best, brother.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I know you guys have a busy night tonight. We wish you the best of luck at the Utah Symphony Patriotic Pops here at Snowbasin. So, Michael, Hugh, thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks for
here
your
on the-
time.
Thank you
Nice
guys
meeting
very
you both.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
I like the comparison more to the Mystery Machine over the Creepy
Yeah,
Friends.
you know
I'll
what?
take that.
I should start doing that, 'cause it does you a disservice.
So, yeah, thanks, Andrew Watson. I think your official name, though, or official position, is it still Outreach and Special Events Manager for Onstage Ogden?
It is.
It
Yes,
is? All right.
It is. I'm a Mr. Manager.
So, Mystery Manager Andrew Watson, again, Onstage Ogden, and you're like, well, what is Onstage? I've never heard of Onstage
I've
Ogden.
never. How could you not have heard of Onstage Ogden? We've
guys-
only been around for 70 years.
Except for 70 years, this just a couple of weeks ago was the first time I ever saw Onstage Ogden on the back of a bus.
Oh, it was a glorious thing, and thank you for reporting that.
Yes,
Actually, we're
I
going to be
saw
very
it.
happy to know that. But yes, we've changed our name. Yeah, just a couple of months ago, back in March. For a very long time, we were known as the Ogden Symphony Ballet Association, which was a confusing name for a very long time, and especially somebody who does outreach in the community. People didn't understand that we were an arts presenter. We're not actually a ballet company, and we're not a symphony orchestra or something of that. So
Sometimes it takes 7 years to get it.
yeah,
to
to
figured
get it
out.
just right. 7 years to get it just right. So we're really
That's a
excited.
big move, though, because when you have
Yeah.
that name and that branding for so long, and everything has to change, the website, everything. So,
Everything. Actually, our
yeah.
website just went live today. OnstageOgden.org is up and live.
very clean
and
and looks great.
yeah, thank you.
And
Thank you very
I
much.
think that got done because Facebook wasn't working, so we might as well launch a new website.
Oh, that's
So-
right. Yeah. That's right. Facebook was down today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that explains a lot too. So yeah, very big moves. It's
Mm-hmm.
certainly been a big year for our organization, and yeah, we're opening up our 70th season in September with the Utah Symphony. So what we primarily do is we bring the Utah Symphony, Ballet West, and other top classical music and dance artists up to Ogden. We do a lot of our performances at Weber State in the big theater, but we also program Peary's Egyptian Theater. We have a new series that we're opening next spring at the Monarch called the Downtown Series with 4 fantastic artists that we're bringing in. One of them a Grammy Award winner, Eighth Blackbird. And we present 27 concerts throughout the year in Ogden. And yeah, gosh, we're really
and
excited
you do
about
not
it.
mess around with your talent level. You guys bring in high quality, high talent artists.
Absolutely. I like to say we bring in people at the height of their careers. These are, a couple of weeks ago, I got to work with a violinist. She's a young violinist, but she just won an Avery Fisher career grant, which essentially is a genius grant. They just give you, you don't apply for it. The board of directors of Lincoln Center just selects you. They select several yous to hand out an enormous check, and then you can do whatever you want with that.
Did you get yours yet?
Yeah, did you get your check, Todd?
I have not. It's in the
And
mail,
keep
and I want it to
checking
be
the
a
mail.
giant check, one of those big
giant
written
check.
ones as well. One comment that I do have about Ogden Symphony Ballet Association, Onstage Ogden, is the choices, your selections. I mean, I can sort of piggyback on the caliber of talent, but your selections are all very approachable. And I think that's really the best word for it, is that it is, all levels of experience as far as a theater goer or a music lover, from sort of a beginning level up to, your sophisticated theater goer or something like that.
and that's
so
the-
nicely done on that.
Well, thank you.
'Cause That's not easy to do.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
it's all
I won't take
Andrew,
credit for that
actually.
either. Yes. No, that's Melissa Klein, who I'll definitely credit for, and is letting me interview in her stead. So yeah, and that's really the tribute to the Utah Symphony. I think one of our state's greatest treasures is that they're so versatile. We're able to do a masterwork series, which is straight up classical music. This year, we've got Tchaikovsky. Krajewski and Rachmaninoff and Brahms and Williams and the Planets and really all this really cool classical music coming in. A lot of it is very approachable. It is. And a lot of it we do want to make sure that our audiences aren't too challenged. Occasionally we do challenge them with
A good challenge.
with an Andrew Norman piece, something a little more modern classical. But these are all works that are popular in the canon for the most part. And the symphony also just does a great job at programming them as well. I should take off my volunteer badge. And then we've got the entertainment series, which it has some really great artists, Broadway artists like Hugh Panaro, which we just had coming on. We're doing a Women Who Rock concert, which is paying tribute to all those great women artists like Pat Benatar and the Wilson sisters in Heart. And Janis Joplin. And we've got these great Broadway caliber singers who are going to be singing all these great songs. What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina Turner on stage in front of the Utah Symphony. We've got the Temptations coming in.
Like the Temptations.
The Temptations coming in next April, again, with the Utah Symphony. They've got the world's best backing band, I think, in my opinion.
How big is your team?
How big is our team? Onstage Ogden?
Yeah.
Right now we're at 4. We're about to go back up to 5. But yeah, we're a tiny little office.
How do you do it? I honestly say, how do you do it?
Because the marketing is good, everything is good.
Plus, you have to be planning for essentially next season already.
Yeah. We are hard at work. Checking out artists, going to conventions.
But you're present
checking
for what's
dates.
going on now.
Yep, and we're there now. We do show business, I guess, is really what
Show
that
biz.
is. It's
That's
in my
right
blood,
there, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, this is second nature to me, I guess. I'm
then-
in my zone.
And then personally, everything else you do on top of this on stage gig as well.
Yeah, that's right. I'm our official IT director. I'm the old lady liaison. Whenever we have an old lady who's upset, generally they get passed off to me, and I make them happy in a professional way. And yeah, so we wear many hats. We all kind of do everything. We've got really top, again, our office is like that. We're all professionals, I think, at the top of our careers. If you can say that, working for a small arts nonprofit in a little Utah city. It's really cool. We're really lucky, I think, to be doing what we do. I count myself lucky every day.
Well, and Ogden's lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Too, to have that
Well,
there. And
thank
so
you.
Onstage Ogden, which is now, Ogden's now the name there. So onstageogden.org
OnstageOgden.org.
for all the information.
Yeah, all 27 concerts. You can buy tickets. You get information about all my outreachy programs. I do some great stuff where I bring a lot of artists out to our schools to work with kids. That's really one of the most fun things that I get to do is just to get to them and expose that. And again, just great artists in our little mountain community.
Thanks for including us too as well.
Outreach program recently? Maybe.
I did. I was just
Mount
at
Ogden Park.
That's right. I was just at. I'll give a
That was
plug.
a fun day.
That was really fun. I love. We get to do Arts in the Park every year with Todd and Weber State University. We have fun. We come out. We were at Mount Ogden Park this year. We did a craft. What did we do? We did
tape.
We
like
did
a
tape
tape
art.
thing.
Yes, yeah.
This was cool, yeah.
Fun tape art. Got to meet a lot
Like
of kids.
different colors
and-
of tape?
Yeah, it was
It
very.
sounded like
very
a piece of
colorful.
transparency film.
Transparency film.
And you're sort of creating on top of that.
Yeah. It's a nice, easy craft to do, but the kids can do it because they can be as careful and creative as they want, or they can just throw a bunch of tape on. And
Exactly.
Say, hey,
Yeah.
I made art.
It takes
I
all
arted.
sorts. Well, it was good to see you guys.
Yeah. Oh wait, I need to make a plug though. The tape came from my wife's program, Weber State University's Arts Learning Collaborative. She'll kill me if I don't mention that.
Well, thank you for mentioning
this
that.
point.
Yeah, because
Yes.
that's no joke. Supplies and things. You
No,
look
we
into-
do a lot of work with Weber State University, and we're happy to partner with you guys all the time. We do our shows at Weber State University.
Absolutely. You've done it right. Sort of making those connections is what it's all about, and it's not an easy thing to do.
That's what makes a community, right? Connections.
Yeah, and you did a great job. I mean, the first time I met you was at the Ogden City Arts Advisory Committee, and you came in, introduced yourself, and then we kind of went from there. So, connections. Yeah, connections. Again, Andrew Watson, Outreach and Special Events Manager of Onstage Ogden.
That's Mr. Manager.
Or Mr. Watson, if you please.
Respect,
yes.
sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, so hanging out up here at Snowbasin tonight is the Utah Symphony Patriotic Pops at Snowbasin, featuring the Utah Symphony, of course. And we're lucky enough here to have in the marketing director, is that the correct name?
Communications and event specialist.
Communications and event specialists, which is this is an event. It's an arts event. Megan Collins here at Snowbasin. So thank you so much. We were just talking about you. There's arts on the mountains up here. So
Yes.
culinary, theater, well, movies, and also
Music.
music,
Painting.
painting.
We've got lots of different artistic outlets up here. Every Sunday we have our Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. We
Yeah.
bring in national bands. They play some music inspired by the mountains. Sometimes they make up their own songs, and it's fully free. So you bring your dogs, your
Inspired by the
kids.
mountain.
I don't know. Andy Frasco made up his own song talking about
Yeah.
Utah while he was
That's
here.
awesome.
And those go through September 8th. Like I said,
Every Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday.
Yeah.
Kid friendly, dog friendly.
Beer's free.
I wish.
Sorry.
Music's free.
Music's free.
But we have great local breweries up here, all of them from Ogden and Salt Lake, so that's pretty exciting to taste all the different ones and ride the gondola up to the top of the mountain, take some photos, mountain bike if you want,
Miniature golf.
miniature golf, yeah. So
Is that
then
open on Sundays?
it's open Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. So right now we're in the middle of our movie nights. On Mondays, bring the family up here for those free feature films. And mini golf's open. Dinner in Earl's Lodge. Make a night out of it. Come up at 6. Movie will start at dark. So wear out those kids on the mini golf course.
Yeah.
And then they'll fall asleep in the movie. It'll be
I was
perfect.
looking at your lineup of the movies. They're not all like young kids ones, meaning that there's a few of those I even wanted to like. I'm gonna make sure and check that out.
We just had Space Jam. I'm a 90s kid, so I was
you
really
pick the
excited
movies?
about Space Jam.
Who picks the
No.
movies? Is this like a collaborative event here?
Next year, maybe I'll pick the movies, which I'm also pretty excited about. Our food and beverage department picked them this year. So hopefully next year I'll get a little more say.
Do you know they're doing another Space Jam?
I've heard.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna happen. It was it's called a cult favorite.
Oh, yes.
Some movies that maybe don't do incredibly well, but it gathered an audience.
Princess Bride.
That one actually
It didn't do too well at the theaters, and then it
But
crushed it on
afterwards
HBO.
and afterwards,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got those Mondays. And then, like I said, art, painting, and nature. We've got 3 classes. We had our first one. And so there's 2 more left. The next one's July 13th. It's $30 for an hour and a half lesson by a local artist, Lindsay Huss. She's based in Ogden. She was a teacher, so the classes are awesome.
Currently painting a mural there where Daily Rise is.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
You snagged a great teacher.
Yeah.
we're really excited to have her.
Is that any entry level or experience? or-
Entry level,
okay.
experienced, anyone. We do ask it to be older than kids 12 and older
Okay.
to participate. It's more for that adult who wants
Sure.
to play in the watercolor field. And we follow us on social media, and the week leading up, we post 3 pictures or 4 pictures, and everyone gets to vote. And so then coming Saturday, you'll know which painting. Hopefully you voted for the one that wins.
Have you
So
ever done
there's
one
a
of those
whole
group painting
interactive
classes?
one.
No.
And so everybody paints the same, essentially kind of the same scene.
You say that, and I
So it's
just
kind of
think
like
of
a
a
Bob
naked
Ross.
person.
It's kind of
right?
a Bob
Like,
Ross thing.
But we're-
Bob Ross didn't do a lot of naked people. He did mostly landscapes
he
and things
did
like that. So.
naked trees.
And our Bob Ross is local landscape. So
Yes,
we
local
had
landscape, yeah.
we voted for Ben Lomond, Mount Ogden, Needles Peak. Needles ended up winning the snowy Needles Peak shot for the
It was a
first
good
one.
choice. That
It was a
win.
good
I
one.
think that's the one I voted
My
for.
mom would love that.
She should come up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
right in the middle of the day at 11:30, so you could come up, paint, and then work up that appetite
Yeah.
and ride the gondola and go have lunch up top.
That'd be,
Have you
yeah,
done
that's
this
awesome.
before, the painting?
Yeah.
This
first
is
year?
our second year. Last year we did acrylics and kind of moved it around the base or the mountain. We had it at the top of Needles and top of John Paul, and this year we decided to keep it down here because of the wind.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The temperatures, and this is our biggest patio, so why not utilize the space so everyone can have their artistic space around them?
Sure.
I don't think you're going to have any trouble with the temperature in the upcoming weeks.
I don't think so either. I think summer's here to stay.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's
melting
right.
the snow. Mountain bike trails are opening this weekend. Hiking trails. We've got a little bit snow up on those peaks, so you can't quite hike to the tip top yet.
Okay, so we were talking. You stay very busy, as I suppose we all do it to some degree. But what really gets you excited about summer at Snowbasin? And I know I'm sure you are interested in everything, but what in particular?
I love riding the gondola with my friends. and looking out the mountain and seeing all those runs that you ski in the winter, and you look up in the bowls and you're like, look at all those rocks that I ski over.
That's what's crazy. Is like, it's a completely different terrain. You look at it and you're like, what in the heck? Like, I ski that or I snowboard, but it's like, that's wild because it doesn't look that rough or hard in the winter, obviously, because it's covered in snow.
And the other thing I really like are those Sundays, those Blues, Brews, and Barbecue concerts. They bring out such a great crowd. Like, you have your little kids playing in the sandbox in the very front. And then you have the adults dancing around the little kids playing in the sandbox. The artists are sometimes playing music in the audience, or they're up on the stage, and then you have the grandparents, and it's like multi-generational. The food's good, the beer's great, and people make a day out of it, set up their sunshades. Some people take a nap. I know my mom comes up for the day. She ends up falling asleep at some point in her sunshade, under her sunshade.
Which is about the best thing ever. It's just
that's
a nap
perfect.
on the mountain.
Yeah.
And you get out of the heat.
And the weather's been perfect so far. So, I mean, it hasn't been too hot yet, so it's been great. Are there food pairings this summer?
Yes, we have our dining discoveries.
Okay.
We have a new executive chef, came from Sun Valley, so he's really excited to take us on a delectable tour of our palate. And
we're going to have to set up a chat with him.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
over food.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Our first dining discovery is July 26th, and it's a 4-course meal paired with Woodbridge Winery wines, and Woodbridge will be here to talk about the wines, and Chef Nick will be here to talk about the food.
Chef Nick.
He's awesome. We have 2 in August. One is during the full moon, so for sure keep an eye out for that one at the Top of Needles. So that one's really cool. And we've got that whiskey dinner that everyone loves coming this fall.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting because they're really upping the food and making it delicious, even more delicious than it was before.
So summer just really just starting here. I mean,
it is.
Yeah. So when do you kick into winter mode already? When do you're like, okay, all right, let's,
every time you start doing it, it's like, can I have a few months of warmth?
Right.
Before you start obsessing about.
I'm
like,
a big winter
again.
girl. Like, I'm ready for it
You're
to snow
skiing.
again.
When did you ski last?
Father's Day.
Father's Day.
I'm going tomorrow too.
Yeah. To the bird. Yeah.
You know, they gave me 4th of July off at Snowbasin, so I might as well end my ski season on a high note.
So we worked there last weekend, and it's like 8 to noon, I think, and there you get the people in the shorts.
Yep.
Shorts and ski boots is a hoot. So
I will be fully covered. My parents taught me that no skin shows while you're on the slopes. If you fall, that's bad news bears.
Bad news bears.
So even if it's hot, I'll be fully covered.
That is good.
I was
my
going
gosh.
to mention one thing. Fully congratulations on the Blues, Brews, and Barbecues, because Brandon and I are involved. We set up a lot of events and things in Ogden, arts events, music events, things like that, and we all have to take into account how much of Ogden is up on the mountain during that.
On Sunday, yeah.
And it's completely true.
Yeah.
It has become just a staple. It really has. So well done on that.
We're excited about it, and we're happy to have everyone up here. We know people go to the reservoir in the morning and then come on up or pick out different bands. It's really nice that first band is local, growing in Salt Lake and Ogden area, and then that second band's a little more regional, and then that third's usually national. So it ebbs and flows too. Like, some people come for the first act because they're friends of them, and then some people are like, oh, I love that headliner. So it's exciting to watch it grow, and we've got a great lineup this year.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
Awesome. Good time. So for more information, snowbasin.com. It's still selling season tickets right now for next year, so jump on that. And then, again, Blues, Brews, and Barbecue is free. The beer is not. Come up here, grab a beer, grab some food. The food is excellent. New chef, didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
new
that's
chef.
Cool.
And if you aren't big into the dining dinners, try our new food with our mountaintop brunch.
Mountaintop brunch, yeah.
Outside Sundays on that patio.
Gondola runs weekends only?
Yep.
Weekends only. And then if you've got a pass, you can bring your mountain bike up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And miniature golf on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
And Monday, yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things. I still remember that.
We sucked so bad at that.
It was
That's-
so much
You guys
fun.
have to play it more.
We have to play
That's
it
the
more.
trick. You got to play
That is the
more.
catch, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it had been a while. I was out of practice.
The
So
most beautiful location for a miniature golf.
it really was.
I'm glad you guys like it so much.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
It really is. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Have fun tonight.
Thank
Yes,
you
good
for
luck.
having me, guys.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah, we'll
Appreciate
talk
it.
again.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, once again, we're going to put a bow on it. That's a wrap for episode 16 of the Nine Rails Arts Podcast, produced by the Banyan Collective, arts and adventure podcasting since 2010. Don't miss a single episode of the Banyan Collective's Nine Rails Arts Podcast as we explore what it means to be an adventurous creative in 2019. Hear the stories of Ogden's new Nine Rails Creative District, including those of the Monarch, which is going to be the epicenter and home of artisans, designers, and creatives in downtown Ogden. Follow the Nine Rails Arts Podcast on Facebook and also on Instagram at the number 9 Rails. For more on the Banyan Collective, simply search the Banyan Collective, Banyan, on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. This week, we're going to leave you with a little Van Sessions live on the upper deck of the Monarch building in conjunction with Ogden City Arts and Ogden's First Friday Art Stroll. This is local jazz band Standards and Substandards.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy is rich and your mama good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing. Yes, you spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you. With daddy and mammy standing by. your daddy's rich, and your mama's so good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Wow.
Thank you.
So good, so good. Standards and substandards.